The 2 ways to build video series is back. Today I'm going to be showing you 2 very different ways of how to build a $500 gaming PC. And the best part is I completely assembled this video today, start to finish, aka the day that this video went live. That means you're getting the absolute latest recommendations and everything is literally in stock, including the GPU. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. For our 2 ways to build a $500 gaming PC today, the first build is what I'm calling the available today build, as everything is fully in stock. Yep, that includes the graphics card. And the other build is what I'm calling the forward thinking gaming PC, meaning that you're kind of setting yourself up for whenever you're actually able to snipe a good GPU deal. Obviously right now it's incredibly tough, although very possible to find a GPU. Both of these build guides are very much based around this tough market today, so definitely keep that in mind. Just as a quick disclaimer, literally everything I talk about for both of these builds are linked down in the description. Now I think we're ready to get started after a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by MMORC.com, a key reseller website that I teamed up with because they're offering the cheapest Windows 10 keys that I've seen so far, as well as a ton of other software keys. MMORC is offering you guys a super exclusive sale on the Windows 10 keys. Click that first link in the description and select add to cart, click place order, paste in the exclusive AF coupon code ZAH35, and that'll give you a massive 35% discount, dropping the price to under $10. After that, select your payment method and complete your order. Once you get the key, click start on your PC and type in activate, press enter, change product key, paste in the key, and there you go, activated Windows 10 for less than 10 bucks. Once again, feel free to head down to the links in the description and use that exclusive 35% off coupon code ZAH35. Jumping straight into the available today build, the first part up is the CPU, and I had to go with the Intel Core i3-10100. Despite having integrated graphics right now, this is actually cheaper than the 10100F, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but definitely just go with whichever one's cheaper. The 10100 is a 4-core and 8-threaded 10th gen processor with a max turbo frequency of 4.3 GHz, and to be honest, it's really the only CPU on the market that's consistently available around that $100 mark. Next up is the motherboard, and although there was a much cheaper MSI alternative last night that literally just went out of stock, I now had to switch over to this Gigabyte B460M DS3H. You guys know that I've used the DS3H lineup in so many of my build guides over the years, as it's a pretty reliable budget motherboard lineup, and it does indeed have 4 RAM slots. That's actually a very hard requirement for this build because I was only able to squeeze in this 2x4GB kit of G-Skill AG's RAM. It's very tough to recommend a $500 gaming PC here in 2021 with only 8GB of RAM. If you don't have a super strict budget, I would definitely recommend upgrading to a 2x8GB kit right from the start, but if you can't afford that, our motherboard will at least allow us to expand to 4 4GB sticks for a total of 16GB in the near future. Moving on, next up we get to the SSD, and this here is the Team Group GX2 512GB SSD. This is consistently the cheapest 2.5-inch SSD that you can easily find. It's not too special without rocking DRAM and basic SATA 3 speeds of 550 write over 500 read, but for a budget build like this, it'll be perfectly fine. After that, we have the case, and now this is very subjective, and I definitely recommend going with whatever you personally like and can afford, but I personally chose this Rosewell SRM01B, which is currently only $23 right now on Newegg. Remember, everything is linked down in the description. This is a micro ATX case that pairs perfectly with our micro ATX motherboard. It's not rocking a tempered glass side panel, but instead it's just a very clean brushed aluminum front design and pretty minimal and simple, which is what I like. Next up is the power supply, and now this option you'll see in both builds today, and that's the Antec VP Plus 550 watt 80 plus certified unit. Newegg is running an absolute killer sale on this beast down to just $25, and it actually lasts for the next 4 days, so definitely go and get this one while it's hot. It is rocking ketchup and mustard cables, mind you, so if you don't want that, my next recommendation would be heading on over to EVGA B stock. On Tuesday nights when they restock, you can almost always find EVGA 450 BRs for $25 or EVGA 500 BRs for $30, and it's definitely been my go-to power supply choice for like a year now. And then finally, the last part we have here today is the graphics card, the most dreaded part of any gaming PC build guide here in 2021, and I actually found this PowerColor RX 550 4GB model currently in stock stock on Amazon. No, an RX 550 in a $500 gaming PC is definitely not the best option, and it kind of hurts to recommend it, but if you're looking to pull the trigger on a gaming PC today, then it's certainly available to you as a decent option. Definitely keep in mind, just like the power supplies, I would personally recommend you putting in the extra effort and waiting to find a better GPU. I've been picking up RTX 2060s, GTX 1650s, and 1650 Supers over on that EVGA Bstock website, and there you can find a much higher price to performance graphics card. Something like a $180 GTX 1650 Super on EVGA Bstock would actually be a perfect combination for the rest of this build, and this is indeed my recommendation over the RX 550, but once again, it's in stock today if you're interested. With that being said, here's what the final parts list is looking like for a $500 available today gaming PC, and even if you do decide to go with that RX 550, this will certainly enable you to play any game in 1080p provided you dial in those settings properly with the graphically demanding titles. Alright, so my second PC recommendation is what I'm calling the $500 forward-thinking build. This build was designed to think more about the future, and it sets you up for a very powerful gaming PC whenever you find a good deal on a GPU. Starting with the CPU, here I went with the Intel i5-10400, which is a significant improvement over the 10100, as this one is packing 6 cores and 12 threads with a max frequency of up to 4.3 GHz. The 10400 will pair perfectly with a huge range of GPUs, up to even ones like the RTX 3070 or 3080 if you really wanted to, and it won't be a bottleneck in 1440p or 4K gaming. Unlike the stock cooler being used for the first build, for this system I chose the Cooler Master Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition, which costs $31, and will definitely set us up for a nice looking build in the future like I said. The motherboard is the exact same Gigabyte B460M DS3H, don't think I really need to say much more on this one. For RAM, we have a much better option than the first build, as this is the Crucial Ballistix 2x8GB kit that's clocked at 2666 MHz, which is all you need for these Intel chips. After that, we have the SSD, and this has been consistently one of my go-to options. This is the 500GB Crucial P1, which is indeed rocking DRAM and definitely a very solid price to performance NVMe SSD. The case is up next, and to keep things simple, I just wanted a micro ATX option to fit our motherboard and something that came with some RGB fans, so I didn't have to waste money on that. I ended up choosing this Cooler Master Masterbox MB320L, as it does come with 2 RGB fans at the front, nothing in the back mind you, just as an FYI, and for $58 not on a sale, this is a pretty solid buy. And finally, the last part up is the power supply. Not a huge fan recommending this same Antec VP Plus 550 watt unit with ketchup and mustard cables, but like I said, definitely check out EVGA Bstock for a 500BR for $30 as a secondary option if they are available. Now here you can take a look at the final parts list, and as you can see, this $500 forward-thinking build doesn't have a GPU. The reason why I went down this route is because although the 10400's integrated graphics aren't the best, it'll at least allow you to play games at 720p or even 1080p for the lighter esport titles, and then this buys you time to snipe a much better graphics card than what we had in the first build. This system can honestly be paired with any GPU you want. Like I said earlier, that 10400 pairs so well with even the really high-end graphics cards, and I would recommend turning this now $500 gaming PC into anything between a $700 GTX 1650 Super system all the way up to like a $1200 RTX 3070 gaming PC. The choice is all yours. Like I said, the purpose of today's video was to provide you very quickly with 2 very different options on how to build a $500 gaming PC, and most importantly, using only parts that are available today, aka the day that this video goes live. These are definitely not as good as my typical $500 gaming PC builds that I physically build on the channel, because in those videos I do exercise patience and snipe the good deals, but that's not the purpose of a video like today's. Hopefully I made that point very clear for you keyboard warriors. With that being said, if you are indeed interested in another $500 gaming PC build video where I actually build it and benchmark it on camera, then feel free to click the video that's on the screen now. But just like always, I hope you enjoyed this video.